Percentage, there are two common type of questions in percentage. What is x% of y and x is what percent of y. Most of the questions will revolve around these two questions, and if we understand how to solve these two questions, percentage becomes a lot easier for us. Now amongst these two questions, the first one is a lot easier, as we will see. The second one requires approximation, which is an art, which is an instinct that we need to hone. We will first deal with the first type of question, what is x% of y. We all know what will be the mathematical representation of this question, x% of y, which means x by 100 into y. This is what we have learned in our school and colleges and all. Now we can also write this as x into y by 100, right? Same, which can also be written as x into y by 100, right? Which is nothing but y% of x. So first thing, x% of y and y% of x are one and the same thing. And second, both of them are equal to product of x and y. So x% of y or y% of x is nothing but x into y divided by 100, of course, which is a very simple division. We all know that when we divide by 100, all we need to do is shift the decimal 2 places to the left. So which also means that whatever we have learnt in multiplication is very much applicable as far as percentage is concerned. We can very well use that multiplication techniques here also. For example, say 7% of 13. As we just learned, it's nothing but 7 into 13. 91 by 100, which is equal to 0.91. Or say 11 into 17. We have learned a technique for 11, right? So it's equal to 187 by 100. 11% of 17. 187 by 100, which is 1.87. Right? Now, as we can see, this is only possible if the numbers are conducive for multiplication, easy to multiply with. 7 into 13, 11 into 17. What if we have a question like this? 17.5% of 684. Now, you can't convince me that multiplying 175 or 17.5 with 684 is in any way an easy multiplication. Therefore, we need to develop techniques which helps us deal with percentage itself without resorting to multiplication. Now, there are quite a few ways how to go about it. The first method that we will learn, that how to do our percentage calculations without using this multiplication method, is what I call convenient numbers, convenient percentage numbers. These numbers are 10%, 1%, 0.1%, 0.01%, 50%, 5%, 0.5% and 0.05%. Now why are they convenient? For example, say a number like this, 7845768. What will be 10% of this number? We know that 10% is nothing but shifting the decimal point a place to the left. So 10% of this number is 784,576.8. What is 1% of this number? 0.68. What is 0.1% of this number? 0.768. And what is 0.01% of this number? 0.576. This means that all these numbers can be derived by mere observation. I don't need to do any calculation to get these percentage figures at least. Continuing in the same vein, can I find 50% very easily? I mean, you don't even need to be a mathematician to know that 50% is nothing but half of this, which means 3, 9, 2, 2, 8, 8, 4 is my 50%. Now, once I have my 50%, 5% is nothing but same as 50%. There is no difference between 50% and 5%. All I need to do is play around with my decimal point. So what is my 5% then? 392288.4. I just shift the decimal point one place to the left. And carrying on, what is my 0.5%? Therefore, is nothing but this decimal coming another one place to the left. What is my 0.05%? Again, one more shift for the decimal point. 3922.884 is my 0.05%. which means all these numbers are very easy to calculate, and therefore we will try to use them as much as possible for my calculation of percentage. We will demonstrate this with a small example here. Say, if we have to calculate a percentage figure, let's say 11.5% of 786, right? 11.5% of say 786. I've just taken these random figures. 11.5% of 786. The whole idea here is to convert the required percentage into a series of simple convenient percentage. Till now we have dealt with only 8 such percentages, so we'll use them only. So 11.5 would mean 10 plus 1, 11 plus 0.5. All of them very familiar numbers to us, we have just dealt with them. So we need to find this percentage of 786. 10% is 78.6. 1% is same as 10%, except the decimal point one place to the left. So 7.86. And remember one thing, as far as CAT is concerned, we rarely if ever go to 2 places after decimal. 2 places after decimal is not to be done in CAT at all. Most of the time you don't even need to do 1 place after decimal, but 2 places after decimal is a strict no-no. So 7.86 can be roughly taken as say 7.9. 0.5%, if you see, is nothing but half of 1%. So I don't need to calculate my 0.5%. All I need to do is half this number, which would be roughly 3.8. There is my answer. Now all you need to do is be very good as far as addition is concerned. So everything boils down to simple act of addition and single digit multiplication. So if I add these numbers, 6, 9, 15, 23, so 3, 2, 80, 87, 90. So my answer is 90.3. Right? Let's take another example. Say if I take 26.5%, 26.5% of 8456, right? Slightly bigger number. Now how do I use these numbers then? I take them as 20 plus 5 plus 1 plus 0.5. But 20 is not something that we have counted as a convenient number. But I'm sure that you understand, and it's very easy to see also, that 20 can be taken as 10 into 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 0.5. 10% of the number is 845.6. Therefore 20% is 845.6 into 2. All I need to do is double my 10%. So I get 1691.2. So my 20% is 1691.2. My 5% is nothing but half of my 10%. So that will be 422.8. My 1% is same as my 10%, only decimal point shifting. So 84.656, so I take it as 6.6. And 0.5% is same as my 5%, only decimal point shifted. So 42.28, which I take as 3. Now all I need to do is add. 20 plus 80, 100, 160, 190. So I get my 9 here, 1 is carry. 92, 114, 198 and 240. So 40 and this is 22. There is my answer. Right? 20% plus 5% plus 1% plus 0.5% is 26.5%. Right? We understand this and we can do that for all such numbers. Let's take one more example, the final example, before we move on to the other method of how to calculate my percentage fast. Say if I take 46.3% of 2473, absolutely random numbers. Now in this case what I'll do is that I'll use 50% because it's very close to 50%, right? So what I can do is say 50% minus 4% will give me 46% plus 0.3%. So 50% is half of this number, so 1236.5. 4% is nothing but 1% into 4, which is equal to 24.7 into 4. So 96, 2.8, 98.8. So minus 98.8. Whenever I subtract, I never subtract the actual numbers. The number that I have to subtract, I normally approximate it with a close, convenient number. So 98.8 is very close to 100. So let me subtract 100. 1236.5 minus 100, 1226.5. But I subtracted more than what I was supposed to. By how much? What was the margin of error there? 198.8. 1.2. So I add back my 1.2. So 1136.5 plus 1.2. So 1137.7. Right? Now another 0.3%. Now why? You have to understand something. See, if you are calculating a number like 46.3, which is the part where you can afford to approximate by some luxury? It's the smaller part, 0.3%, 1%, 0.5%. There is where you can afford to take a risk. So 0.3% is nothing but 0.1 into 3. So 0.1 is 10, 1, 0.1, 2.47. Roughly 2.5 into 3, 7.5. I don't need to worry too much about my exactitude of the numbers here. I can afford to take some risk here. And I need to add that 0.3. So 7.5. So this gives me 145.2. And there is my answer. Right? So now we have learned two methods. One is A% of B is equal to B% of A is equal to A into B by 100. And second is using these convenient numbers as far as possible. Alright? The third method that we will learn is the fraction method of calculating percentage. Alright? Thank you.